I was going to actually upgrade this to a 500 and overclock that to a 550, which never was in these systems. But I missed my chance on that. There was one on eBay recently, and I just didn't bid on it in time. And, well, these things aren't easy to find anymore. They're getting pretty rare. People are holding on to them. So if I ever find another one, this may become a 550. But at this time, it's fine here. It is time. Hello, I'm Greg A.K.A. of A.K.A. Mods, and welcome to episode 12 of season 2 of my PowerPC series. In this episode, we're going to be upgrading my Gigabit Ethernet dual 500 G4 Power Mac to a dual 550 G4. Now, it's going to be a hop in 50 megahertz, but that's 50 megahertz per CPU. That's going to make a pretty good difference, in my opinion, and I'm going to be showing you how we're going to do it. We're going to take the original overclocked 450 dual that has been overclocked to 500 out, and we're going to first put this chip in so we can test it, unlike last time when I didn't test it before I overclocked it. That wasn't right. This time we're going to test it to make sure the CPU works. Now this thing will perform identically to the way it does now with this CPU in it, but once we verify that the CPU works, we will be overclocking it with a soldering iron and some solder. Now this isn't going to really be a tutorial on how to do it because I'm not really doing it the proper way. To do it the proper way, you need to do it with another resistor, or you know, you really shouldn't follow the way I'm doing it to overclock it, but you can, and it will work, hopefully. I'm not giving you any guarantees, so if you're following this, you're doing it at your own risk. But we're going to pop this heatsink off right here, and pull the old CPU out and put this one in. So let's get to it. Okay, so we'll start by popping the heatsink off, which involves me pushing down on these clips and just removing them from the chip. Like that. Then we'll remove the clips. And it is stuck. Come on. There we go. And it will lift right off. And here we go. We have it off the CPU. So I'll set this to the side and take a good look at this CPU here. That is the old CPU. We'll take these 3 screws out right here. Okay, so we have the screws out, and it will pop right off. And here's the old CPU. As we can see, it was originally a 450, and here is that botched overclock job I did the first time. And we're basically going to be doing the same thing again this time, but only without burning the traces off, hopefully. So we're going to hope and pray there. I'm going to set the new CPU in, which we can compare them real quick. Move back here. They are actually different colors, believe it or not. I don't know if they're supposed to be different colors. They're probably just made at different times or in a different factory. But here are the 2 CPUs. The overclocked 450 and the stock 500, and as we can see, they're really basically the same. You know, there's nothing really different. That's why that overclocked so well, and this should overclock to 550 with no problem. So this time, so we can guarantee this will actually work, We're going to put the 500 in first and make sure it actually works. This is the 500, as we can see right here. We'll set it down on the screw posts. We'll set it down on the screw posts. It is not setting down. There it goes. And click it in. Okay, it is locked in. I'm not going to tighten everything down a whole lot. I just want to get the heat sink back on so it doesn't get too hot. Okay. I am going to put thermal paste on this just because I might end up getting paranoid otherwise, but I'm not going to put a whole lot on it, just enough to get it done. So we'll grab my thermal paste, if I can find it. I'm going to be using cheap thermal paste. Since this is just temporary, I don't want to be wasting anything. So we'll use some TG7, which I consider cheap. Put a dollop there, and a dollop there, like that. I'm not going to clean off the heat sink because there's not much of a point, and it's already got some thermal paste on it, which will help. Put the cap back on this. Okay. Prepare the heat sink here. 1 second, guys. I'll speed this up. Okay. Got the heat sink. We'll set it back down on here. Maybe. Yeah. Heat sink's on. We'll set this back down so you can watch it. And I'll take the clips, and I'll have to stand up to do this probably. Take the clips. There's one. And this one's a little harder because the card's right next to it. And there's two. So yeah, I accidentally hit the stop recording button. So yeah, anyway, so the CPU has been installed, and as we can see, it's all ready to be closed up. So let's close it up. And to verify, just so you guys believe me, it really is the original, that 500 CPU. You don't see any epoxy there, and it's got the same jumper. There's no trickery there. The CPU will either work or not work. So we'll move this into my bay I have here. This is harder to move because it has rubber feet on it, unlike most of my other Macs. And we'll hook it up, which I don't know if I can film and record this. I mean, plug it in at the same time. Let's see. It is a tight squeeze in here. Okay. So we have the ADC monitor. Got that plugged in. Ugh. And the power cable. That is plugged in. Now we can go over to the monitor I have this hooked up to and power on and see what happens. So let's turn this light off and hit the ADC power. It powered on and bonged, which is a good sign. Let's see if it boots up. This is a good sign so far. It has booted up. Let's see if it shows dual 500. And it does. It's a dual 500. So now we can pull the CPU back out, clean it up, and do the solder job. So let's go and see what happens. Okay, so I've cleaned up the original G4. I'll be putting that away for a while. It's probably going to be the topic of one of my future G4 Cube videos. Stick around for that. You'll like that episode, I'm sure. Anyway, so I've already taken the heatsink off of the new 500, which will be that 550, and I'm going to clean everything up, and then we're going to prepare everything for soldering. So let's go. Okay, so I have everything cleaned up and ready. I have the soldering iron warming up right now, and it's already smoking, probably something on it. But anyway, now the way I'm doing this, like I said before, I would not recommend doing it this way. It's the easiest way, and the way I'm going to do it, and the most likely way for me to mess the whole thing up. So, like I said, if you're following this, you know, I'm not responsible if you mess up your system, like I probably might. But yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to take this card, and the jumpers are right here, okay? What we need to do is, the way you should properly do this is to get another resistor to do a 550. The two center jumpers have to be set. But since I don't have another 0 ohm resistor and I'm awful at micro soldering, I'm just going to bridge the gap with some solder, which they recommend at least using a jumper wire, which I don't have, and my light just went off. Of course it did. 1 second. Okay, so I don't have to move the camera. I've set another light up separately from the camera. And to finish showing you, yeah, I'm going to be doing these jumpers right here, as we can see. So I'm going to bridge this gap with some solder and hope this works. So let's go, and I hope I don't mess up. Set the light down, and we'll start off. And like I said before, this is for professional idiots only. If you're a professional, I hope you're not doing it this way. And my tip is really, really messed up right now. 1 second while I clean this. Okay. So we'll get some solder, and hopefully this will be a very easy bridge job and I won't break anything. I bridged it. I also bridged another pin. Okay. It's not the world's prettiest job, but it is indeed probably overclocked. Now, you'll probably laugh at my soldering skills, but hey, it worked. And let's see how the nice botch job is here. So we'll set this back in front of the camera. And as we can see, if I can get the light on there, a nice glob of solder there. Nothing's bridged, and it should work. Like I said, I'm no pro at this. I don't see any gaps. I mean, I see gaps. There's nothing bridged that way. So basically I'm just going to plug it back in and see what happens. So let's go and do that. Okay, so let's get the CPU back in. Okay, so a smart person would have at least tried to turn it on before putting the heatsink back on, but as you may have seen, I'm not that smart, so we'll just you know, close it up and plug it in and see what happens. So let's go. Alright, so here's the moment of truth. It's plugged in, and the only thing we have to do is turn on and hope it chimes. It chimed. We'll move over to the monitor and we'll see what happens. It is booting up. So far so good. I see a pointer. I see the desktop. There's the dock. And there's the menu bar. Let's see what happened. Hey, dual 550 megahertz PowerPC G4. We'll go to more info. And once again it says dual 550. Awesome. Now we'll close out this, the system profiler here. There we go. Hit all the wrong buttons before I get the right one. Okay. So, now that we have that done, I've already run the benchmarks of what it was like when it was at 500. So let's run the benchmarks at what it is like at 450. I mean at 550. So, we're just going to do an X-Bench test first. Okay, so the test has finished. Let's save this first. And we'll save it as 550 OC 500. Save that. And we'll open up the old test. And we'll do a review starting with the old one. The old one got a 22.17. The new one got a 23.55. Wow, yeah, it's not a huge difference, but as we can see, it is a difference. Let's see what Geekbench says. So, yeah. Close that out. Close out X-Bench. And we'll open up Geekbench. If I can figure out where it is, here it is. Okay, so here's Geekbench. And we'll just run them, see what happens. Okay, it's done. What's the result? There we go. 476. Let's see what the original one was. $434. It's a difference. It's not as big as the G5 upgrade video, but then again, you've got to consider that I just clicked the wrong button doing that. Then again, you've got to consider that the G5 went from a 2 gigahertz to a 2.5 gigahertz, which was 500 megahertz on each core, where this went from a 500 megahertz to a 550 megahertz, which is 50 megahertz on each core. But it is a difference, and I hope you enjoyed this interesting video. You know, I'm happy to finally have a 550. This is essentially the quickest way, well, the only way to make the quickest dual processor graphite, well, Gigabit Ethernet graphite, with factory Apple parts, the 100 megahertz bus speed G4s. So basically, this is the quickest you can do, and at least it be stable, and with no voltage mods or anything. So I thought you guys might enjoy watching the video on how to overclock this CPU to a dual 550. If you guys remember, we still have that Power Mac G5 giveaway going on. If you click this link right up here, you can go over there and watch that video and enter. We're getting closer to our goal of 2,250 subscribers. I'm getting really excited. We're already past 1,900 now. And when that happens, the giveaway is officially over. So, you know, if you guys want to continue seeing videos like this, etc., etc., if you want to get a nice free G5, if you live in the US, you know, click on that link, and please continue subscribing. I really enjoy making these videos for you guys, and you know, it's just fun to do this. So anyway, well, that is the end of the video, and thank you for watching. This has been a A.K.A. Mods video.